Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm going to be showing you Holo Taco's new Magnetic Attraction collection for Valentine's Day. As the name suggests, this is a lineup of 5 magnetic polishes and 1 heart-shaped topper. They're also going to be launching the Super Magnet, which is Holo Taco's branded horseshoe magnet that's going to be sold separately. So as always, I will save some more of my thoughts for the end of the video after some comparisons. For now, let me just show you the swatches. The first shade we have is Flirt Alert, which is described as a raspberry pink with a light pink magnetic pull and a scattered holo. This had a gorgeous formula. It was a bit on the jelly side, as you can kind of tell here on the first coat, where you can see a little bit of my nail line. It's just a bit sheer and juicy, but incredibly pigmented and very full and even coverage as well. So I feel like I got really great coverage on just the 2 coats, especially on my shorter nails, but I did also want to show this in 3 coats where it does deepen a little bit more. I think you can still see some nail line if you look close enough, but that's always going to be apparent with these jelly-based magnetics, especially in the cat eye effect. So I do also want to show the Super Magnet, which is their horseshoe magnet. It comes in a nice little branded box. There's a little warning label on the back. And as for the magnet itself, it's mainly black with some of the logos and motifs of Holo Taco on the front and back side. And here I was hoping I could show you how to remove the plate by sliding it off, except it was really hard to do it, so I couldn't do it on camera. I had to do it off camera. Apologies for that. But once you have it off, you place your finger on the inside and then paint your coat, and it instantly velvetizes the nail. It is super glassy, super gorgeous. But just in case you don't want to pick up a horseshoe magnet, you can also achieve velvet nails by using a magnetic wand that normally comes with magnetic polishes. The easiest way that I do it is by holding the magnet right next to my nail as I'm painting it and then slightly pull it away to sort of activate the particles. And sometimes if I feel like it, I'll also move the magnet to the other side of my nail just to adjust the magnetic effect there. Since these polishes have more of a jelly base, I found that they magnetize super easily, especially just using a normal wand. And here you can see the comparison of using the wand versus a horseshoe magnet. While these both are in the velvet technique, I think there is definitely a much stronger contrast between the raspberry reddish pink base and the lighter pink magnetic shimmer using the horseshoe magnet. But for the rest of my swatches, I'm just going to be using the horseshoe magnet and showing it next to the unmagnetized swatch here on the left. And then for my full hand swatch, I'm actually showing the glass bead effect on my pointer finger, the velvet effect on my middle, cat eye on my ring finger, and unmagnetized on my pinky. This is 2 coats with a glossy top coat, and I feel like the coverage again is really great, definitely very passable. I couldn't see any visible nail line, so I imagine this would be a 2-coater for most people, but of course it depends on your application and nail length. Next up we have Playing the Field, and this one is described as having a magenta purple shimmer in the background and an aqua teal multichrome magnetic shimmer. I think I would say this has a purple or maybe a very dark charcoal leaning base color. It's really hard to see underneath all of the shimmer, but it is very, very dark. This has a somewhat similar jelly leaning base like the last polish, where you can see it is a bit sheer on the first coat, but I got it pretty much fully opaque in just 2 coats because again, the base is just so dark. And yeah, this one was just very color shifty, where aside from the magnetic shimmer being a multi-chrome where you can see it goes from teal to purple in extreme light, the background shimmer also goes from a purple to orange. And here you can see 2 coats unmagnetized as well as 2 coats in the velvet effect. I just love the contrast of the aqua against the purple. It is so striking. And like before, for my full hand swatch, I'm wearing 2 coats in the glass bead on my pointer, velvet on my middle, cat eye on my ring, and unmagnetized on my pinky. Up next we have Lust in Translation, which is described as a soft lilac purple linear holographic base with a silver magnetic pull. As expected, this had another super flawless formula, just very even coverage overall, decently pigmented on the first coat, just a tiny bit sheer, but I actually found it fully opaque or like 99% opaque on just the two coats. I think if your nails are longer, you might need a third because this is a little bit of a lighter color, or maybe more of a mid-toned sort of purple between the linear holo and the silver magnetic. It just kind of has a bit of a gray cast to it. It's not a traditional bright sort of lilac shade, but it's still really pretty and just magnetized super beautifully. I loved the contrast of the magnetic as well. And I know it's described as silver, but I feel like I can see this hint or twinge of this icy blue aqua kind of color. I don't know if it's just the lighting or something. I definitely see it a bit more in Christine's swatch photo, especially the macro shot, and I think that's what I would want to see in this shade. Maybe if it had a much lighter aqua blue magnetic shimmer, it would just pair or complement better than the super icy silver white. Speaking of aqua, the next shade we have is Polar Opposites, and this one is described as an icy aqua blue with a pale blue silver magnetic and an aqua green shimmer underglow. I think that shimmer is more than an underglow. It definitely stands out so much, especially in contrast to the base color, which I know they're describing as an aqua blue. I would call it more of a cornflower. It's like a little bit dusty, again, kind of in that mid-toned range, and just like the other polishes in the collection, this had another fantastic formula, slightly on the jelly side, so a little bit sheer on the first coat, but really even and full coverage enough on two coats that it's pretty much fully opaque. Hopefully you saw in that previous clip that the green shimmer also kind of shifts to this blue tone in more extreme lighting as well, so a very gorgeous wintry blue kind of polish overall. And here for my full hand swatch, you can see just how deep or mid-toned, I guess, the base actually is, which I was kind of disappointed by. Like, I loved the initial swatch that I saw of it and also how it looked under my desk lighting, but in normal regular lighting it's just a little darker than I would have wanted. But I do like the strong contrast between the magnetic shimmer, the background shimmer, and the base. And the last magnetic in the collection is called Pretty Privilege, and this one is described as a baby pink base with an icy pink magnetic pull and a scattered holo. So it's basically the same exact finish as Flirt Alert, the hot pink magnetic from the beginning, but as I'm sure you can tell, because this is a much lighter shade of pink, it definitely is a lot more sheer, and so you are gonna need at least 2, if not 3 coats to reach the same opacity as the other shades. That being said, I do really like how it looks in 2 coats just because it has a really pretty color. I love the holo sparkle in the background. It is just so gorgeous, and I was really surprised to see how much this deepened up doing a 3rd coat. Maybe I just went in a little heavier handed than normal, but even still you can kind of make out some nail line, so if you have longer nails, 3 coats might still show some visible nail lines, so you might want to use a blurring base coat for this. But yeah, no surprise, this is one of my top favorites from the collection. I love a baby pink, and this magnetic was just so pretty. And rounding out the collection, we have Sweetheart Taco, which has small and mini pink holographic heart-shaped glitters in a clear base. So I'm going to be showing this in 1 coat over various different bases. The first here is just Mooncat's pink smoothing primer, and you can see I'm kind of struggling with getting the hearts off of the brush. I would say this is a little bit base heavy, where, as I'm sure you can tell from the bottle, the glitters didn't sink down to the bottom, which is really nice, but you definitely still have to do some fishing and manipulation or dabbing to get the hearts where you want them. So here for my full hand swatch, again, I'm showing the 1 one coat over Mooncat's pink smoothing base, and I would say I got pretty decent coverage all around. Like, it wasn't super sparse, but I also didn't get as many as what I saw in Christine's swatch, which just had a lot of the little hearts. For the next two swatches over white and black, I did flip the bottle upside down for a little bit just to get the hearts out easier, and I definitely got a few more, but I just went back to fishing like normal for the other shades, and some swatches had more hearts than others, but overall I think I'm just really forgiving because I love the itty bitty heart glitters. I think they're so cute, and I love that it's in a pink hollow finish. And here are my full hand swatches as a little collage, again in 2 coats each with glossy top coat in bright indirect lighting. It's a shame I didn't have direct sun for these because I imagine the bottom 3 shades would just look a lot brighter, which is what I was hoping to see. Moving on to comparisons, we're starting with Flirt Alert and of course looking at it next to Holo Taco's Love Spell, which was one of their very first magnetics. They look deceptively similar just side by side in the bottle, but on the nail you can definitely tell them apart, where Love Spell has a much deeper, more opaque raspberry red base with a magenta pink shimmer. For some other deep pink magnetics, I have Glitch Lacquer's Lovey, which just came out, as well as ILNP's Misfit, which is one of their multi-chrome magnetics, so it is a bit more color shifty. It looks similar in the bottle, but then once you magnetize it, the hot pink is actually the magnetic shimmer, so it reveals a orange sort of shimmer in the background, and the glitch is just overall a lot lighter. And the only other raspberry magnetic that I have is ILNP's Be Mine, but that one's more of a raspberry red. If anything, this one is much more similar to Love Spell. And for some other color references, here is Flirt Alert next to Bless Your Heart and Hotwire Pink, which are just other hot pink shades from Holo Taco. Bless Your Heart is more of a chunky glitter, while Hotwire Pink is a linear hollow. So different finishes, but kind of the same color. And just for further reference, here it is next to Pop Rocker, which is the crushed hollow pink with a blue shimmer, and Private Villa, which I believe is going to be retiring soon. I don't think it's sold out just yet, but that one's more of a red hot pink. Next, for playing the field, the closest shade that I have to a dupe is ILNP's Flip Side, which was another one of their multi-chrome magnetics. These are basically the same. They have a very similar color shift between the background shimmer and the magnetic shimmer. Even the base color, where it's that really dark purple, though I think it is a bit darker or just more charcoaly gray leaning in Holo Taco. But other than that, I would say these are close enough to call dupes. Next, for Lust in Translation, here it is next to Cirque's Clairvoyant and ILNP's Amped, both of which are these cool-toned lavender sort of jelly-based magnetics with silver magnetic shimmers. Cirque, though, doesn't have any additional hollow in the background. Just as a reminder, Lust in Translation is the linear hollow base, and ILNP Amped has more of a greenish sort of shimmer in the background. So none of these are dupes, but you can kind of tell that they're in the same family. Between these, the Holo Taco looks the lightest as far as the base color goes. And here's Lust in Translation next to Mooncat's Clair de Lune from their Danse Macabre collection. It's another purple base magnetic with a silver magnetic pole, but the purple base in Mooncat is much more dusty, very grayed out, and it's more of a pure cream as opposed to a hollow. And for color reference, here it is next to Mooncat's Shattered Glass, which is a lavender linear hollow. It's a little bit more blue toned, so to better match the pinky purple lilac color of Lust in Translation along with the hollow effect, I thought of ILNP's Frosted Rose, which is actually one of their metallic finishes, so I feel like these are kind of close. Moving on to polar opposites, I first pulled out ILNP's 0 Degrees, which is another blue wintry kind of magnetic, but that one's a bit deeper, more of the cerulean color. So for something a little bit lighter, I have Cirque's Mind Over Matter. That one, though, is a little bit more of a sky blue color, and it also doesn't have any green shimmer in the background, but if you have a green shimmer topper, you might be able to recreate polar opposites. And some other comparisons I have are for ILNP's flashing lights and Starrely's polar lights. Both of these are what I would call more true aqua blue bases. The way that Holo Taco describes the aqua blue, to me, again, is more cornflower, so it's more of a mid-tone, just a slightly different shade. Hopefully you can see that more clearly here in the cat eye effect with the base color coming through, but there still is a similarity here, especially between Starrely's polar lights, where it has that brighter green shimmer in the background. And for some other color reference comparisons, here it is next to Holo Taco's 8-Bit Blues, which is their chunky glitter formula from the Pixel Perfect collection, as well as ILNP's Aria, which is an aqua blue linear holo. Between these two, I would say polar opposites is a little bit closer to 8-Bit Blues, but obviously still not dupes. Next for Pretty Privilege, here it is next to Cirque Colors Bay and ILNP's Pink Suede, both of which are cool-toned, baby pink kind of jelly bases with silver magnetic shimmers. Again, the Cirque does not have any holo, it's just the jelly base and the magnetic. The ILNP does have a dainty holo sparkle in the background, but as you can see on the nail, the ILNP and the Cirque are both a little bit more muted or cool-toned. So then I thought to show this next to Mooncat's Velvet Rose, which sadly was retired last year. This is another pink base with a silver magnetic pole. It is a bit warmer toned compared to the previous two shades, but a little too dark to compare to Pretty Privilege. For some other color reference comparisons, here it is next to Control Cutie from the Pixel Perfect collection, as well as Mooncat's Not Today Satan, which is a linear holographic. I would assume that's the closest to Holo Taco's Pink Fizz, so you can get an idea these are kind of in the same color family. And here it is next to Sparkling Spurs from the Holo Royalty collection last year, which surprisingly looks pretty similar. I think in real life it's a little easier to tell the difference where it's a bit more purple. And here it is next to Menchie the Cat, which is one of the original chunky glitters. That one's a bit lighter though. And lastly for Sweetheart Taco, I of course am showing this next to Fauve's Candy Hearts, which is their heart-shaped glitter topper. They are obviously not dupes because Fauve has a matte glitter finish in both a bubblegum pink and white color combo, along with these iridescent sort of sparkles in the background. The heart shapes are also the same size in Fauve, while Holo Taco has the two sizes. So that wraps up my swatches and comparisons of Holo Taco's Magnetic Attraction collection. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts on this release because I am obviously loving it. I know I'm a bit biased because I just love pinks and the aesthetic of Valentine's Day in general, so this is just a lineup that really speaks to me, but even objectively speaking, I feel like these are just really great magnetics. A couple of years ago when Holo Taco released their very first magnetics, they were okay. I mean, I personally didn't have an issue with them necessarily, but they were a bit thicker, more opaque compared to other brands, and that causes the magnetic to not magnetize as easily. So they've really improved their formulas over the years, like all of the magnetics that have come after, whether they're the Menchie and Xyler cat eyes, the two most recent magnetics from the camping collection being much more jelly bases, and then obviously these are even more jelly. They just magnetize super easily, so they just are really great polishes. I just especially love the lineup, the more kind of cutesy color palette, the pastels, they're just so pretty. I think the heart-shaped topper is adorable too. Not quite my favorite, I still would give that to Fauve's topper personally, but I do really love that this one has the two sizes of the heart-shaped glitters where they're just the normal like standard size, but then also the tiny ones. I think those are so freaking cute. And lastly, for the horseshoe magnet, it's exciting to see that they are finally launching their own, because at this point I feel like almost every boutique brand and even some indie brands have their own branded horseshoe magnets. some cuter than others, and I do appreciate that Holo Tacos has their little logos and motifs. Again, I know I really struggled in the beginning with taking off the metal plate, but since using it for a couple of days, like different swatches and whatnot, it's been so much easier to remove. I would honestly say even easier to remove than my ILNP magnet. But again, as long as the magnet says it's a 30-pound pull, you're pretty much gonna have the same effect. So the only difference between the branded magnets are just, again, how they look visually and also maybe their price, but they're pretty much in the same ballpark. Also, one more important thing to note, if this is gonna be your first Horseshoe magnet, whether again it's this brand or another, you wanna make sure to keep this metal plate to close the circuit of the magnet. Otherwise, it's gonna be weakened over time. So yeah, overall, I thought this was a super cute collection for the holiday. Definitely let me know if you already grabbed them or if you are gonna be skipping them, because I know, again, a lot of people are so tired of magnetics. Either way, I would love to hear your thoughts down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!